with Coach Xavi after this sixth win in La Liga in a row. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy, really satisfied. Today it was a final for us against a really good team, really good coach, amazing performance from our part. So I'm really happy.
I'm a special one.
I was right.
Hello and welcome back to OmniFoot TV. This is your Stormer speaking, and tonight's video is about Xavi at Barcelona. Oh Lord, where do I begin? Now, Xavi's Barcelona have taken 29 out of a possible 33 points from 11 league games this season so far, consecutively. They've gone on a 13-game unbeaten streak in all competitions. They've just done extremely well recently. They've been confident, they've been organized, they've been tactically astute. There's been this flair, to them. It's been reminiscent of that you have seen under, Pep Guardiola, in Pep's reign or in Enrique's reign. Xavi has done extremely well to take from his most influential managers. He's still pretty much a rookie in that respect. So, he's won 7 trophies in Qatar. He's done extremely well for himself in regards to Asian football and Qatari football in particular, but that, with all due respect, has no bearings on what it's like to coach in Europe. Now, he's home. He's obviously home. People were extremely happy about him being appointed Barcelona managers, and some actually looked to crucify him upon the first mistake. He actually had a very slow start to life in Barcelona. This team looked lethargic. He had a lot of issues in regards to motivating the players, making sure that they were consistent, making them want to be consistent again. And that says a lot about his communication skills as to how far he's gotten in only 5 months. He took over Barcelona in November of last year, and that's been roughly 5 months from now. It is also reported that he paid off the fee required for Barcelona to be able to buy him. To take him over from El Sadd, which was around 5 million euros. He paid 3 million or 2 million of that. I can't remember the exact number, so you have confirmation of the number in and of itself. Please let me know in the comments below and correct me. Now, to look at this contextually, Barcelona had gone through a couple of managers who've had horrible stints, who were also scapegoated to a certain extent because of how horrible the club has been suffering in regards to its inner political workings as an institution. But that still wasn't necessarily an excuse for how horrible they've been on the pitch. They've been a shell of their former selves as a club. They've been in debt for a long time. The club in and of itself has lost its credibility. It's lost its credibility on the pitch. It's lost its credibility as an academy. And it's lost its credibility as a business institution. I can only remember Aguero talking about what it was like to, show up for training on the first day and finding that no one was there and the lights were off in the gym, and it was just, there seemed to have been absolutely no commitment, no why, so to speak. Players need a why. They need a reason. They need to be able to feel like there's a lot that's being demanded of them and they have to enjoy what they're doing. And I saw a quote from Xavi the other day that if you have, players who rate themselves from a 5 or a 6 in your squad and you demand more of them, you obviously want a 10 out of 10. If you get an 8, that could be enough to actually win you titles because they'll be pushing themselves beyond their limit and actually evolving. And I think just by reading that alone and seeing the progress that they have made under him on the pitch, you can easily say that it's paid off, that his communication skills have been astute, that he's been patient, that he's been very mature as a manager, because the transition from player to manager is actually quite a merciless one. It's actually quite a painful one, because it requires you to have the capacity to deal with things that you probably didn't even think about as a player. It's quite different to be able to read the game the way Xavi does as a midfielder than to be able to read it on the touchline and then to be able to communicate it to your players from the touchline. You most likely feel like you want to go do things yourself, and obviously because you can't, you get impatient with your players and just walk off and leave your job or stay there until your denial kicks in and you get sacked as a former player. And, that's how I see it in that regard. Xavi's work, however, has been quite extraordinary. They've played a very good, this is sort of a renaissance in a way. Seriously, this has been sort of a Barcelona renaissance. The team's fan base overall was quite depressed before he came in. They didn't care as much. They felt like they weren't going to amount to much this season. They didn't care about the Europa League as a trophy, or rather they felt that they couldn't get there. They couldn't get past it. For the most part, whoever I asked who supported the club felt like they wouldn't get past Napoli in any sense. And yet somehow they did. Now, tactically, Barcelona play a 4-3-3 on paper, and then they switch to a 2-3-5 in attack. They have a double pivot who, comprises of usually De Jong and Pedri. Sometimes Gavi actually slots in, or he plays on the wing. Xavi has actually utilized him quite well in either position. He's done quite well for himself in that regard. In regards to the fullbacks, he utilizes inverted fullbacks in Alba and Dani Alves, a cue that he's taken from Pep Guardiola's time at Manchester City. Now, their starting 11 has been prone to constant changes, as I think 36 players have actually featured in the starting 11 under Xavi throughout his tenure thus far, but it seems as though he's actually managed to pick apart his entire squad, and he's figured out the formula that he's been wanting to go with. He's done a lot of experimenting, and it's paid off on the long run. Now, Xavi actually relies on direct pressing. He relies on getting the second balls, be it in the 4-3-3 whenever they start inviting pressure so they can pull players out of position to use the long balls and create chances up front, or when it's through the build-up play they mount from defense going forward, where Aubameyang actually slots back and a player, usually one of the pivots, goes forward, makes a disruptive run to catch players and get them out, to pull them out of position, allowing there to be space up front for someone to make a run. When they go on the attack and they have 5 up front in the 2-3-5 that they mount, they allow there to be a huge amount of players, an overload, so to speak. So that leaves the half spaces in particular right there and easy to play in, which both players in that midfield pivot thrive on, with Busquets, mounting the charge, or rather, he was actually mounting that charge against Madrid. He was pushing up that pitch, and Busquets isn't really one to push up. He isn't really one to, he doesn't have the legs anymore. I'd say he doesn't have the legs anymore, but he's been very good under Xavi. He's had those dips in form, but he's still been viable. He's still been very important. He's been a main cog in the machine. He's been the metronome, so to speak. When they're switched on and in the attack, the fullbacks actually end up waiting on the flanks so they could go for the second balls. And that allows, it just makes their opponents more prone to mistakes. Xavi is more about attacking and creating chances in order to score. He's more so about that possession play, which personally, I'm not into possession football. But as a philosophy, it seems foolproof. It forces the opposition team to play in a low block. It forces the team to park the bus. And that's what they struggle facing. If they actually face a team that knows how to do that efficiently, I can easily call back Mourinho's performance against Guardiola in the 2010 Champions League semi-final, but that is basically from a different era. But you get what I mean. They haven't faced a side that has been able to stop them in that regard just yet, and I don't think they will for a while now. From a team that has genuinely struggled to, contextualize itself to a side that everyone knows that they won't mount a late challenge for the title. Everyone does know that, but they have a clear ticket to the Champions League next season with the Europa League. Their transfer policy has obviously been very strong, despite the fact that they're facing huge financial circumstances. They've been able to bring players in. The way they brought Aubameyang in, bringing in Traore, who had a massive impact in his first couple of games for the club. Xavi has actually been able to allow the players that he has and those that he's brought in to effectively work in a manner that best suits their strengths. And I think that's a testament to his character. It's a testament to how brave he is and how he chooses to trust his players. And if the club continues to move in this direction, then I doubt their unbeaten run will actually end anytime soon. The game they've had against Sevilla last night, their win over Atletico de Madrid, their win against Napoli in the Europa League, that second goal is actually a good idea of how they use long balls effectively. And, you got Piqué, who actually made the cross. Their centre-backs do well enough to push the ball forward, be it when they're building up or they're trying to create chances right from the back. It's just, you go and watch that goal. I'll leave the link in the description below. There are many goals that you could go back to. There are a lot of highlights that you could watch to actually look at how well they just surround and encompass the opposition, allowing them very little space and very few options. That kind of constant balanced pressure takes a lot of work to be implemented on the training pitch, and it takes a whole other level of, mental strength and composure to be able to implement on the pitch. So I can't help but credit this team immensely. And for the future, I really hope that it's bright for this Barca team, because I think that we can all agree that what's happened to the club internally wasn't good for it. It wasn't good for football, and you wouldn't want it to happen at your club either. And I try to emphasize that on this channel. Anything that happens to an opposition club, anything that happens to any club in world football that doesn't suit its best interests, doesn't suit the game at large, and I think that we should all rally against that in any way, shape, or form and try to make a difference. And that is the point upon which I will end this video. Thank you all again for tuning in. I did my best to analyze the team as best as I could with the notes that I took. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I leave the link to our social media accounts in the description below, the link to our Facebook pages for that of our Arabic content followers, and that's where we post our Arabic content. When there's the link to our Arabic YouTube channel as well. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time the whistle blows. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.